So we're going to try this again. That's funny that of all times, my signal went out. But it's all good. So if you can, do me a favor, like and share this video because this is a conversation I definitely want to have with great, mature people that I'm connected to because it's a necessary conversation to have, necessary topic that needs to be discussed. So if you can do me a favor, like, share this video, tag a friend who can definitely be involved in this conversation for what I'm about to, information I'm going to give out. Hopefully it's received well. If not, it's all good. But I'm determined to put some things out there. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Like I said, if you can tag and share this video, it's gonna get fun. We're gonna have some good time. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna enjoy this topic that so many people shy away from, which has caused a epidemic, so to speak. And you may know of this epidemic, but just gonna give a few more folks to get on. But let's again, do me a favor, if you can share this video. Let's talk about this thing. And I'm gonna give you my viewpoints, and these are just my opinions, but also what I believe in, things that are right, and sure enough right. But you'll also, I guarantee you, probably about 90% of people will agree with me. If not much more. And so I'm going to come from it from a standpoint of being a man of faith, but also a father, and also an uncle, and a man, period. And so yeah, y'all ready? Like, if y'all ready, give me a thumbs up. Make sure y'all can hear me, and let's get started. Good evening, sis. Good evening. Good evening. But let's talk about it. All right. Let's talk about sex. All right. And you're like, Kenston, why is Kenston talking about sex? Why is he talking about sex? What is there's a lot going on in this world that has to do with sex, and how I was raised, how I was brought up. People don't talk about sex, especially the place where it should be talked about, in the church. It's a hush hush type of situation, and so I want to ask you. I'll put this out here. How many people were talked to about sex when you were younger? From parents, or to church? How many were you talked about sex from somebody who you trusted? Okay. Did they give you the image? They paint the picture of what sex really represented? It's good. It's good. Anybody else? When did you first get talked to about sex? Be honest, because I really want to know, when was it first told? And what age were you first told about sex? We're all adults here now, but what age were you first told about sex? From either your parents or from leadership in the church? When were you empowered, equipped, talked about sex? When was that? 12 years old. You got a good mother. High school, okay? What else? What else? Come on. We going somewhere. Of course I'm going somewhere with this. But when were you talked to about sex. $13. Okay. Premarital education. Wow. So that's way late in the years. And so again, I'll give you my viewpoint, because from a parent's perspective, young people between the ages of 10 and 17, they see tons of images, and probably younger, see tons of images weekly about sex. And the problem with it is that they're seeing it in the wrong light. Agree? They're seeing it the wrong way. And so they're getting painted a picture. They're building a picture in their minds the wrong way of what sex is. And so because they have a tainted picture, because they haven't been talked to about sex, they're leaning towards that picture from TV or from the internet. And so in the church, they didn't talk to me about sex. Even though it was one of the first acts or commands that God gave Adam and Eve. Remember that scripture that says, go be fruitful and multiply. So that was one of the first acts. But we don't talk about that in church. Why is it that we don't talk about it in church? I mean, tell me, somebody stop me if you talked about sex in your church. If they gave you sex education in the church. Because it would make tons and tons and tons of sense if they did. Okay. I'm just wondering, because I didn't hear nothing about sex in the church. I'm sorry. I grew up there. I was a pew baby. And I never heard about sex in church. No, you not, Marvin. You are a grown adult you are a grown adult, so you are in this conversation. And the thing is, again, sex is a great thing, but under the right conditions, circumstances. And I still believe, this is my belief, because I'm a man of faith. It should be done in marriage. I do wholeheartedly believe that. However, is that if we're in the church and we're supposed to be mirroring the image of God, and God created us and created sex and that stuff, why wouldn't we be talking about sex in the church? And if you're not faith-based, even in our homes. What's stopping you from having the conversation with your young person about sex? And so I believe, because it hasn't been presented in a way of good things, that because people have to actually hide things because they're seeing it, they want to know what's going on, then they're tempted to act it out outside of what it was created to do or created to be. Oh, we have somebody who was talked about in church, particularly. Okay. And that's an awesome thing. And trust me, I'm not condemning the church or nothing at all. But we don't hear about it much, where the people who we trust, who our parents trust, do you believe that conversation should be happening? I'll just pose the question. Should that conversation be happening in the church. Because if it's not happening in a church and it's not happening in the home, then it's happening on the bus, in school, behind the school, sleepovers, where it's not controlled. What? Hold on. Would you? Sis, I read that. Listen. When I heard, listen, and you think about it again, we go back to, when did you first hear about sex? When did you first see images of sex? Period. I'll tell you this story. I first seen images of sex. It had to be around 2nd or 3rd grade. Show and tell, where a friend's dad was a truck driver, and so we went on to the truck to, just to see the truck, show and tell. And us being boys, we looked, we're being, going through things, being nosy. And we came across these books of Playboy. And so 2nd grade, 3rd grade, I ain't never seen nothing like that. And I'm like, whoa, you see that? And my eyes were open to sex in that manner. So being, the little boys that we were, some of those magazines came home, right? So I was presented with a false representation of sex. Don't be laughing at me, Katrina. This is serious. But I was presented with a false image of sex. And again, having those images in my head the entire time, it was a tainted picture. Right? It was a tainted picture of what sex really was about. And so I had to ask you, and especially the parents, when is the right time to have that conversation about sex? In fact, listen, my son, I think it was about 2nd or 3rd grade. He got a letter. It wasn't Valentine's Day, but he got a letter with lipstick kisses on the paper, like lipstick and kisses on the paper. What? And so I'm like, stay away from her, because she's obviously seeing things at her young age. And be that if it's from mom and dad, she's seeing mom and dad, it's cool, but she's got to know that that's not correct, right? However, we got to have the conversation. We got to have the conversation on why it's not correct, because I know I'm not the only one, but who was raised in church, and even outside of church, it was always, no, don't do this. No, don't do that. No. I know you're getting older, but no. I know you maybe, it wasn't even, I know you're developing feelings or maturity, and you're going to get these feelings. It was just no. Parents, we got to give our young people more than no. Why? Why should we give them more than no? Answer that question. Why should we give them no without any explanation? Because last time I checked, when we were young people, and Lord knows we wasn't always near the cross, and we would be kind of curious even when we heard no. we would kind of find a way to do some of these things or see some of these things. Again, we were just told no without an explanation. It was, shh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. And I see you, Jill. I see you, Jill. And I wish that wasn't the case, because listen, when I got to college, it was a shocker for me. All I knew was no. But there was no explanation of what do I do with these feelings? What do I do with these feelings that I'm getting about this young lady? Or same thing, vice versa with the young lady. What am I supposed to do with these feelings that I'm feeling about this young man? And so, again, for me, I believe definitely sex is good. Sex is great, but it has to be in the right context. Why do I say it has to be in the right context? So let's move on to that. Because when you have sex, you're not just having sex. And I believe that with my whole heart, that it's not just sex. And there's a spiritual component that's connected to having sex. You're not just having sex. Believe it or not, you're not. Why do I say that? Why do I say that? Why do I say sex is not just sex and it's just not having sex? Yeah, you may think you're just going through a routine, but you're actually connecting on a deeper level, spiritually, emotionally, to the point where you try to break off from it and you crave it even more. And I'm not going on this conversation. It's not going to be, we're not going to talk about soul ties, but we're going to talk about it soon. But I wanted to open up this conversation about sex, because the world picture of sex is a mess. And we, as either people of God or parents or spiritual leaders, have to be the ones that have this conversation with the young people around us, so they can get a better picture. Because we're competing against the worldview of sex. That thing called porn, that's real. It's a tainted picture of sex. Of people going to random other people and having sex. That's not it. That's not what you were born to do. And because, like my sister just said, we all are curious beings, it's best that we have people, it's best that we equip young people with the tools to necessarily to deal with life. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation, sis. A whole nother conversation. We may have to tag you in on that one. But the points I want to make is, because there's so many attachments that, again, come along with sex, whether we see them, whether we feel them or not, they're there. And it may not come out right then and there, but they may come out down the line. And the reason why I feel so strongly about, because I'm not perfect, trust me, y'all, I'm not perfect. However, I know the strength of having sex outside of marriage. I know the pain. I know the hurt. I know the mess that comes with it. And so, again, my goal, my life duty is to ignite, inspire, and empower people to give you the tools necessarily to be even better individually, collectively. Parents, spiritual leaders. And so we got to show our young people, and if you're a spiritual leader, if you're not comfortable with having a conversation and empowering your young people, find somebody that can. Again, there's great reasons why it says that marriage should be for married people. It's a great reason. Because if we did it according to the Bible, there'd be a lot of married people out here married to a lot of different people. And that's not what it was intended to do. So, let's be bold in this conversation about sex, and let's talk about it in this safe environment, because people become addicted to sex. It's that strong. And again, if it's not in the right context, if it's not guided, if it's not talked about, it's going to be talked about, but it may not be talked about in the right way. So again, I just wanted to come on here real quick. Parents, if you haven't had the conversation about the birds and the bees, have the conversation. Don't just sit your child in front of the TV and tell them watch a video or read a book. If you do, make sure you're right there with them. Yeah, teach them how to be patient and wait on God for God's best for them. Exactly. It's holy. It's sacred. Yeah. Why not? Why not you have the conversation with your young people? That's when you got to ask yourself the question. Just because your parents may have not had the conversation with you, or just because your spiritual leaders didn't have the conversation with you, it's for you now to make the time, the effort to empower your young people. Because again, who better to tell them, who better to talk to them about this than you? Come on now. Who better to talk to them about sex than you? Yes, it may feel uncomfortable if you haven't done it, but guess what? It's coming from you, the safest place, the people that they love, like, and trust, rather than their friends. Come on now. Your friends. So let's talk about it, and let's keep talking about it. But let's give more than no, no, no. Let's be determined to give more than that, because we owe it to our young people. We owe it to, the young people we're connected to, more than no. What are they to do with these feelings? These emotions that they have? What are they supposed to do with this? So, that's all I got. Any questions? And like I said, we'll dive deeper, and then we'll bring some people on here because we need to talk about sex in a mature environment. Because I've seen so many hurt people. I've seen so many hurt people, women and men at a grown age, our age, and older, the results of just having sex. So our young people shouldn't be hearing from sex the first time once they're 20 or older. It shouldn't. So let's have these uncomfortable conversations so we can be comfortable in having them. All right. Peace and blessings. Holler at you. Share this video. Like this video. Again, it's first of many, but we're going to hit some things because we have to. We have to. Yeah, we have to. Bye. Love you too. Love you too. Thank you.